Good morning, folks. Welcome to FYI, wherever you're joining us from. For your information, guys, it's the 25th of October. Yep, believe it or not. Already we are there, and we're happy that you're joining us from the many places that you wonderful, fantastic folks like Edward Brooms, Dolly Anderson are joining us from. Karen Muhammad is here as well, and Cheryl, Rihanna Mingo is here. Cheryl Glenn, that is. Good to see all the folks who are joining us right out the gates on YouTube. Good to have each and every one of you. Such a privilege. It's such a real privilege having you join us. You know, lots happening, folks. Lots happening all around. Especially, folks, on the Venezuelan front. That's been on the news recently. Yeah, lots happening on that front. Are things escalating? That's a good question we can ask ourselves. Are things with Venezuela escalating? You know, the leader of the opposition and members of the parliamentary opposition and the PPP government met yesterday for more than an hour and 45 minutes on that Venezuelan threat issue. You know, one would think matters are very, very serious. People are meeting for that length of time. Matters are extremely serious, good folks, and good to have each and every one of you with us on the live this morning. I see Denny Samuel is here, and Seymour George says, really in Kingston, Jamaica. Make the best of it. Make the best of it. Brenda Moore, we see you as well, and Beryl Crawford, all the other good folks joining us. Melanie Adams, for instance, and we get Debbie Collins, Roderick Henry. I see you there. Tessa Isaacs, Gravesand, good to see you as well. If it's raining where you are, folks, let's just try to make the best of it. Keep moving forward. Isabella Butters, we see you there. Isabella says, I've just arrived. Keyboard Hope, we see you as well. And Ingrid Crawford. All the other fantastic folks joining us across social media. Oh, I've become undone. All the fantastic folks joining us across social media. Good to see each and every one of you, as we say, on the live, good folks. You know who I ran into yesterday? Good folks, you all know who I ran into yesterday. I ran into Tabitha. The beautiful, the wonderful Tabitha Sarabo Halley. I ran into Tabitha yesterday morning, and what a joy that was. Good folks, it was such a joy. See, share the live, smash that emoji button, folks. We're here. We are here. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to do that. While we cross the I's and we dot the T's, and they said, we got to do. However, I's and T's, T's and I's. Good to have each and every one of you folks on the live. That's what I said. On the live. It's a privilege to have all of you here with us. How y'all keeps? Good folks, how y'all keeps? I'm eager to know. Good to see you folks there. Wherever you're joining us from, as we said, as we began, great to have all of you. Wonderful, beautiful, fantastic people joining us from all over the world. What are you using as your beverage as you start the day? Some of y'all done eat and gone on, you know. Yeah. Y'all don't waste time. Lots of you folks already eat and gone on. How the rest of you faring? Do let us know. We want to know. Y'all know we fast like that. Y'all know thou art fast like that. So let us know what you guys are having. Perhaps even where you're joining us from. We're simply privileged to have each and every one of you folks. Each and every one of you folks on the live. Each and every one of you. We're happy to have you folks on the live this morning. We're ensuring we're crossing the T's and we're dotting the I's this morning. But as we said, great to have each and every one of you, wonderful, fantastic folks with us. It's such a privilege being here with you every day. Well, at least Monday to Friday. It is such a privilege, folks, being here with you all. And we're ready to get going. Ready, steady to get going. All right, just making sure we got the T's crossed and the O's dotted. Want to make sure we have that, folks, and then we're good to go. So as I said, there's a lot happening on the happening on the Venezuelan front that we want to touch on. A lot happening on the Venezuelan front we want to touch on, folks, and we're going to get to some of that in just a little bit. But as I said, good to have you wonderful, beautiful folks on the live. Rosanna, we see you there, and Gil Adcock, Sonia Massicop. Sonia, how are you doing? Sending some hugs and some kisses your way in Maryland. Sonia, sending some hugs and kisses your way. Keep the cool. Don't need to send that. Read the comments, we see you as well. And Gil Adcock, Brandy Anderson, we see you there, folks. We got a lot we're dealing with this morning. A lot we're dealing with this morning. Right? Have a lot we're dealing with this morning, folks, at our end. So much to keep abreast with. How are you folks doing? Debbie Collins says loud and clear. Rita is there too. And I see we got Gil Adcock is here, and just Facebook user. One of it says, just Facebook user. Good to have all of you here. And that's, as we said, quite interesting things making the news this morning. Things making the morning papers in complete agreement, completely united. That meeting yesterday afternoon between the leader of the opposition, folks, Mr. Aubrey Norton and his team, and President Irfan Ali and his team at office of the president. And I like how Aubrey looking in that space, you know, like the colors and so on, and there agrees with his complexion. But that being said, a meeting that lasted over an hour and 45 minutes on the issue of the Venezuelan threat, folks. On the issue of the Venezuelan threat, and part of the joint statement that was issued last evening after this meeting concluded spoke to the fact that the two sides are completely united against this Venezuelan threat and will do all in their powers to resist. Will do all in its power to resist what is happening there. And as I said to you, I did run into Tabitha early yesterday, and she was part of that meeting also. Would I like to pick her brain on some of what came out of that meeting? So they're telling us, folks, they are in complete agreement. And as you know by now, credible sources, we were on the front lines when they came out of that very important meeting yesterday at Shibnarine Chandrapal Drive, because we pursue credible and valid information. We have to keep you guys updated as to all of the goings on that front, folks. All of the goings on. We were privileged, very, very privileged to be there, to be out front, bringing things live and direct for you wonderful folks, live and direct. Here's some of what we covered on this issue of the Venezuelan threat, the meeting yesterday between the opposition and the government at Office of the President, and some of the persons we spoke with on the ground, Mr. Aubrey Norton, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, Amanda Walton, the Zia, leader of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Kemraj Ramchadan. Take a look. The leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, and his team have just wrapped up a meeting here at the Office of the President. It was an in-person briefing on the Venezuelan issue by the President, Irfan Ali. And as they left the meeting, here is what they told us. Mr. Norton, you've been meeting with the President for more than an hour and a half. Two statements during the course of the last week, one on the mobilization of troops on the border, the other to do with the referendum that is tantamount to annexation. Are you satisfied with the meeting?
Yes, I thought the meeting was a very successful meeting. We have been able to outline all our positions. We are unified in a number of issues, including rejecting this whole idea of a referendum, that it is pernicious, dangerous, and we hope it should not go forward. It's very aggressive by nature and militarizes an issue that really should be for diplomatic resolution.
Venezuela put a statement today saying that the president has rejected negotiations and meeting, that the Guyanese president has rejected that. Did that come up in any discussion during this meeting?
Not directly, but when I read the Venezuelan statement, look, you have to understand what Venezuela is trying to do. Venezuela is trying to shift this thing away from the ICG, we have to ensure it stays with the ICJ. Our best option is with the ICJ. And Venezuela in this particular document argued, unfortunately and erroneously, that they're trying now to root it in the Geneva Agreement. This process is as a result of the Geneva Agreement. We have tried for years the good officer. It didn't work. And finally, we decided, in keeping with the Geneva Agreement, that it will go to the ICJ. We have urged Venezuela to make their presentation to the ICJ. But this is rooted in the Geneva Agreement. And what Venezuela is attempting to do is to make it appear as if we are, the government of Ghana, all of us are rejecting dialogue. We are not. It is from the Geneva Agreement that we ended up at the ICJ, and that is in keeping with that agreement that pursues the Pacific settlement of disputes.
Exactly what you and the president agreed on today in terms of next steps?
Well, we are going to issue that in a joint statement. I don't want to, since we will be engaging, we have two senior officers that will engage the government, and we will make a joint statement. And so I don't want to get into that until we finally agree. You would agree this is an issue that we have to be united on, and we don't want to say something and then the president says something. We are agreeing in principle that there will be one statement from all of us.
And it has to be consistent with what the lawyers that are dealing with the matter must appreciate too. Because we do not want to make a joint statement and it has legal implications, and we are then chastised by the lawyers that are arguing our case at the ICJ.
So that's consistent with the laws.
For instance, press the need for more public education.
Yes, we did. We stressed the need for public education. We pointed out that even when there is public education, it is not continuous. And we argue that going forward, there should be continuous education, continuous public education. And the president agreed. He said they have begun to work on it, and we're happy. We want continuous public education to ensure people understand the issues and are supportive of us.
And did you press the lead also for continued diplomatic engagement with CARICOM? We know that there are some issues in CARICOM. Some countries appear to be aligned with Venezuela, and also to ensure compliance after the ICJ's decision.
Well, we have discussed thoroughly the diplomatic initiative. The agreement is that we will continue to take actions at the diplomatic level, at the political level. We will do everything to ensure our case is sold to the international community. We feel comfortable that the international community is supportive of us, and we can't go to the extent to say who will comply after the ruling. We'll wait on the ruling, and then we will deal with the ruling after the ruling.
Did the issue of Venezuelan migrants come up? No, there's a concern you raised.
We raised the issue of Venezuelan migrants, and there's an agreement that we will be provided with the information, and that we will engage on this issue through the Parliamentary Sectorial Committee on Foreign Relations.
So the committee will meet soon after Parliament.
The committee will meet, and the Parliament will meet on the issue.
And you have a joint resolution. That's where you'll be heading.
Yes, everything we want to do in a united fashion.
We are approaching that December date that Venezuela has set. Will there be more engagements between yourself and the president directly and continuously on this matter?
We have agreed to engage at various levels. The president and I engagement is only one level, but we have the parliamentary level. We have the
sectoral
committees, and you have the committee on security and border and security. All of those, we will security will engage in those.
Well, what are your own thoughts on the trajectory and tenor of the meeting?
That it was, I would like to indicate that it was an excellent meeting. There was a meeting of the minds on almost all the issues. The migration of the Venezuelan issues, the diplomatic efforts that must be made, and public education. And I am very happy that indeed we had this meeting. That is a trajectory, I'd like to put it. It was of the highest united action, at least at this stage, between government and opposition. We want to carry it now to the parliamentary level, whether that parliamentary level will be the whole assembly and also the national committees. And so it is an extremely good start. And the fact that he has indicated that he is going to inform us as events crop up is also very important.
Thank you.
Yeah, the meeting, as the opposition leader said, it went well, and there'll be different committees meeting. I know you've been calling for more regular meetings with the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee, as well as more engagements with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Do you come away from this meeting thinking that you'll be getting that? And how united is the government and the opposition in all of this?
Well, look, we have consistently maintained that we are supportive of the government as it relates to this issue of our territorial integrity and our sovereignty. The meeting was good, as the leader of the opposition said. And in fact, we would have called, sometime last week, I would have issued a call for the reconvening of the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee on Foreign Relations. And I'm happy to say that that call has been heeded, and we will meet tomorrow, Wednesday. And coming out of that committee will set the agenda for the joint interaction that we expect to see going forward. So tomorrow's meeting ought to be a very robust one. We will see coming out of it some concrete bipartisan actions as it relates to this issue with Venezuela.
Are you one of the persons working on that joint statement we're hearing about?
Yes, I am.
How far are we away from getting that statement?
Hopefully by end of day.
They finish at midnight.
Hopefully by end of day. You have to be very careful with these things. We, of course, have to pass the language by the lawyers, etc. So it's a process.
The education of Guyanese on this issue. Just today, the police were moving to seize a food truck that had a Venezuelan map incorporated with the Escobar region. Raising awareness on this issue, how much of a task do you think that will be?
And that was one of our key recommendations to the government, that there has to be a robust education program for the youngest child. Our intensity as it relates to educating our population has to match that of Venezuela's. They're taught from nursery that Essequibo belongs to them, and we have to see that concomitant intensity here. We have to also point out that this matter is currently before the ICJ, and therefore there is no derogation from that as it relates to Venezuela's call for dialogue, etc. But I want to make this very, very important point. We cannot view this issue in abstraction. It has to be viewed within the wider context of what we do to promote a spirit of patriotism in our country. If you notice in Venezuela, the government and opposition are very united on this question. And so we have to understand that to the degree that we undermine a nationalistic or a patriotic spirit is the degree to which we can affect the population's stance on this issue. So they're not separate. There has to be a reawakening of the nationalistic spirit that we saw, in the 80s when we understood our national songs and the importance of those things. And so I hope that these recent events have highlighted to us the importance of that and the dangers of trying to forge at this point some new national thrust. That we continue to stick to those rudiments and tenets that we fought for, that saw us having independence, and that we continue to foster in the 60s, 70s, 80s, up until the early 90s.
The issue of the police here, the markings on the police vehicles and so on, was that even discussed? And as you speak on the issue of education here, was it mentioned in passing or anything of the sort?
Well, we've raised it. We've raised it in the public domain. We've raised it at several other meetings because we are aware that it is an issue that is troubling the people of Guyana, and we are aware that the people of Guyana view that as some sort of a concession, and so we have raised those concerns. We have not been advised of an approach, but what I have noticed in my own personal capacity is that there is now present on the side of the vehicles both the English and the Spanish words for police. So, I'm not sure if that is their way of finding a middle ground, but certainly we have to, when we design these interventions, understand how they impact the bigger picture. And I don't think that was well thought through. Thank you.
The leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey
you heard
Norton, and his
from-
team.
Apologies. You heard there from the leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, leader of the Alliance for Change, Kemraj Ramchatan, and the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the one and only Manzo Watson Desir, as they left that meeting yesterday at Shivnarayan Chanchapal Drive. Late last evening, for those of you now joining us, that statement came out of the Office of the President, joint statement between the opposition and government, completely united on this issue of Venezuela. Last evening, I learned that the retired Rear Admiral Gary Bass was on Burke's program, Rickford Burke's program, and some of his thoughts there we put out earlier on today in an article on this matter, on this issue, and a couple of things that he said there worthy of note. One of the things that Rear Admiral Bass has raised, it may be time for us to say to Venezuelans, nobody else can come in here. This self-invasion kind of thing y'all behaving with, we're close to, they say 100,000 Venezuelans might be here already across the borders. Illegally, refugees, whatnot. 100,000 Venezuelans might already be with us here. Some folks call that a soft invasion. And Admiral Bess in that interview with Rickford Burke last evening said it might be time to say, all right, take a pause. Pause, take one. Pause, take one. That is part of the reporting coming out of that issue. Yep. Believe it or not, that's what he said. It might be time for us to pause. I'm trying to make sure I'm in the right notes. It might be time to pause that. I said breaks up. Hold on. I think we can put out an article later on that bit of reporting too. Very important comments. Rear Admiral Gary Bass, he said it might be time to us to say to pause. And in addition to that, right, he went on to talk about, Venezuela behaving like an economic hitman. And according to him, right, based on what they're doing, it might be time for us to close our western borders with Venezuela, again, to stem this influx. What do you folks think out there? Kyle? Out front parts? What do you guys think? Siobhan McCalman? Might be time to say pause for a cause. And you notice how brazen Wavni Doris, Yvonne Ramasar, they've become? Could you imagine somebody coming to your country, coming to your homes, on your good graces, and suddenly they're going to put some depiction that they own half of your house? And so this caravan was causing a lot of stir. Quite a stir. I saw the Foreign Secretary, Robert Prasad. He was acting a little bit like Anand Prasad in that meeting in Mara. Things he's supposed to be taking action on and pushing his government for some kind of a policy on, he complaining. So some Venezuelan come on with good graces, earning a livelihood here, and on the map, look, it's right there. Bring it up close. You see there? That is the map of Venezuela right there, with Guyana incorporated in it. Right there. With Guyana incorporated in it. How bold you must be. How bold you must be. And one of the things, the phrase, let me try to get the phrase that the Rear Admiral Gary Best, Dr. Gary Best, used. He said it's time for defensive diplomacy. That was the phrase. It is time for defensive diplomacy. And I see folks here complaining, like you heard Naomi Jocker's best friend, Big Smith, asking about the police on the vehicles. Asking about that word, that phrase, policia, on the vehicle. Right? That's how it started on. We start giving into this because we see a whole set of Venezuelan pack up here. We think we got a right to suddenly accommodate the language difference without understanding the implications. I saw it all in London. Right? On the police station there, you got the English and you got the Spanish. Yeah. Making it easy for them boys. Making it easy. So Robert Spessart should be on the policy end of this, making phone calls and saying, Big Sahib, across the road at Ship the Ranch and the Paul Drive. You see this foolishness? We got to act. Defensive diplomacy. But he complaining that the boys were so bold and so brazen right there. That's the Venezuela map there. And they've incorporated Essequibo. And you're going to buy food that they could send back and buy arms. We need an investigation on this, and we need to know what is being done. That's what we need. What is being done? Don't let us celebrate that. People said they're going to have a referendum on December 3rd, and then they're going to issue ID cards. You understand the boldness? The pomposity? Mia Miller? Rear Admiral Gary Best said it's time for defensive diplomacy. We've been playing softball all this time. Right? Defensive diplomacy. That's what he said. That's what he said. Saw the authorities today remarking on the increased arrivals at Trinidad Jagan International. Is who coming? Paulette Graves, Yolanda Thomas, Brenda Moore, Abby D'Souza, Wendy Hudson. Is who coming? Came in the other day, a whole set of Cubans. You know, people think they're coming for them. These increased arrivals. What is the numbers of the Venezuelans entering via Trinidad International? You see, increased arrivals. They start getting excited. They think it's them. They're good. They're nice policies and so on. The wonderful cost of living here. So they're touting increased arrivals. I don't know if it's Yolanda coming through Cherry Dragon a couple times through the year. Jennifer Prince. Eula Lafferman Rubens. I see you there as well. Tessa Lane Eastman. Orin Don Cook. Let's help Prac on the live this morning. Who coming through Cherry Dragon International? Are we following up on that? Who coming in? Who coming in? Who coming in? They're touting increased arrivals. This is a very sensitive time for our country. A very, very, very sensitive time. And then let's jump in on any bandwagon. See, yeah. Getting popular now. Look how many tourists we're getting. And when there's a soft invasion facing us. Yeah. Everything nice. They're telling us Cherry Dragon International Airport has processed over 545,000 passengers so far this year. How many Venezuelans and Cubans? Or Haitians for that matter? How many? We'd love to see this number disaggregated. They want to say it's because, you know, they're in charge, more people coming together now and all of that. Maybe 500,000 Venezuelans. 500,000 Venezuelans. You see? So we got to be careful. I ain't jumping on no bandwagon just so. Just like that. Just so Edward Brooms, out front parts. Who come in? It's you out front parts. It's you by the airport. Godfrey Moore is you. Marilyn Larmer is you coming in from BIM. Edward Brooms. Annette Cummins. Tesselyn Eastman, is it you? Hello? Is it you? Lots happening, folks. We want to get to some more that's happening at our end. Grace Noel, Veronica Prima-Rollins, we see you there. Mia Miller says, I wish it was me. How so? That's how it's cold at your end? Mia, that's how it's cold at your end. You wish it was you. Savita Richards is with us. Whitney Doris is here as well. Oh, from person, not me. It's not her, not me. Tesselyn Eastman, thanks for the thing. Tessa says, I send a tip. Oh, y'all be like Tesla, man. Hate when you got a pride and potion so on big people. Oh, y'all be a little bit like Tesla, man. If you can be like anybody. Don't be like BJ, be like Tessa. Anthony Jarvis, we see you. Kamal Prasad, we see you as well. Region 7 Vice Chairman on the live this morning. Good to see you, Kamal. Wenda and Anthony Jarvis. Savita Richards, we see you there. Lots happening in 592, folks. Let's get to it. The PP said they wanted to amend the standing orders of the Public Accounts Committee, the PAC, for greater inclusivity. But we knew what it came down to is if they're not present, the meeting is not constituted. If they're not present, there's no quorum. And could you imagine, since they have changed those rules, they have missed 21, a staggering 21 meetings. Folks, the Public Accounts Committee is a very important committee. It has oversight for scrutinizing the spending of the government. And traditionally, by rule, whoever's the government, the committee is chaired by a member of the opposition. As a rule. And it used to be any 3 members constitute a quorum. Any 3 members. Right? They've moved it up, I think, to 5 or something like that. Basically saying once they're not there, you can't think. You can't scrutinize. You can't question. And the Public Accounts Committee has the power to drag persons before the committee. Public servants, permanent secretaries, and so on. Pull them before the committee and to question them. The government, this PPP, good governance government, has missed 3 weeks of meetings. 3 weeks in any proper functioning democracy. There will be outrage at the conduct of the government. But here, right, the bar is set so low for the PPP. And even when the bar is set so low, they continue to disappoint us. Marlon Lorma, they continue to disappoint us. Kyle Bino. Even with the bar set so low, PPP supporters don't care what they do, you know. Once in power, all you know for rule we don't care how much they thief in. They can miss a year in meetings. There can be no oversight in spending. Better for them. Better for them. More money for the thief out. Camille Cox says they have a lot to hide. Mayborn says she's not getting any song. Mayborn, well, I don't know what to tell you because we're getting song at our end. Folks, you are getting song. Mayborn says no song. Rena Cummins, what did you have to hide, Camille Cox? 3 weeks, 21 meetings have been missed. How you can run a country like this? Michelle Garrett, Hazel, Ainsworth, Wendell Hudson, Devon Hughes. How you can run a country? Pray tell. Huh? Or announce says a damn set of thief. Out front part says loud and clear. Powerful sound in New Jersey. So these are some of the issues we're confronting today. 21 meetings missed. 21 meetings missed. I want with the chairman this morning. Didn't plan to talk to him. Right? One with the chairman is this morning. Sometimes you just got to go with it. Just got to go with it. What's the chairman up to this morning? 21 meetings missed. Right? This is horrific. Horrific. Nothing short of horrific. Nothing short of horrific. And unacceptable. Mr. Chairman, I have you live. Apologies. Live. You are live. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have you live. We're dealing with this issue on our morning program of the 21 missed meetings of the PPP. And I wanted to pick your brain. Sorry to intrude on your day unceremoniously. How are you doing, Mr. Chairman?
I'm okay. I'm good.
Excellent. What are your thoughts?
You're welcome to do that.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Chairman? The folks we have on the line, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Mr. German Figueroa, joining us. Mr. Chairman, what are your thoughts? We have talked to you where there were 3 meetings missed, 5, 6. They're now at 21. Should it matter? Why should people care about this?
Well, it should always matter because the Public Accounts Committee is a very important arm of the work of Parliament. It is a committee that gives real meaning to what transparency and accountability should be. We oversee the finances of this country, the people's money. So it's always going to be an important committee, and most of the work that we are expected to do is of utmost importance to all Guyanese, irrespective of which side of the political divide you are. Because this is the nation's coffers, the monies that comes from the nation's coffers, taxpayers' money that we overlook. Mm-hmm. So irrespective of where you stand or sit on the political divide, this is Guyanese money. And it's important for us to have Public Accounts Committee meeting to give oversight over the people's money. So it's always going to be important.
Excellent. Mr. Chairman, I remember when this matter of...
Yes, go ahead.
I remember when this matter of changing the standing order came up for debate in the National Assembly. You remember some of the arguments they raised, as Cameron would say, the argumentations? All were noble.
Yeah, so of course, I mean, I was a part of the debate with regards to why it should not change, and we argued then that it was a plot primarily to stymie the work of the Public Accounts Committee, and today it's evident. You know, we even argued based on the fact that we have ministers sitting on the PAC, and they will argue to say that we had ministers sitting on the PAC, and that is true, that is correct. But we would have learned from those experiences. That ministers should not sit on the Public Accounts Committee. And if we are to move forward as a country, as a people, we cannot say because you do it, I should do it. If it is wrong, if it is not working, then we should collectively fix it. And we recognize that ministers sitting on the Public Accounts Committee is bad for the operations of the PAC because ministers are very busy. They have an entire ministry to run, and many times they will have to answer to the responsibilities of the ministry, and therefore they should not be seated on the Public Accounts Committee. Yeah. And one would want to believe members of Parliament are competent and capable to replace a minister on the Public Accounts Committee to conduct those affairs on behalf of either side of the political divide. But definitely our position then holds true today, that the primary objective of changing the standing order for the quorum of the PAC was to stymie the work of the Public Accounts Committee, and it's self-evident today with the amount of absence and suspension of the PAC meetings.
Mr. Chairman, I might be wrong, but I remember a proponent of ministers not sitting on this committee was guilty Shearer herself when she was in opposition. She made a very, very impassioned plea for ministers not to sit in the committee, saying it does exactly what you were saying. Stymies the work of the committee because they're busy people running ministries, doing the work of government, and they don't always have the time to take a whole day or days to sit down to do this meticulous, careful work of scrutinizing the government spending, right? And who is a minister sitting on the committee? There to share.
Yeah, but Guilty Chair is not just a minister sitting. She is the lead person for the government side on the Public Accounts Committee. And she was the chief spokesperson against minister sitting. So the hypocrisy is glaring for all to see. That you say one thing and when the opportunity presents itself for you to prove, you do otherwise. So it's just blatant that the government don't want transparency and accountability to be the order. And what is even more disturbing is that Madam Guilty Chair is a very senior government functionary, and she understands the importance of running a ministry. And more so, she is the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, which speaks to transparency, which speaks to accountability, which speaks to a robust functioning parliament, which she is supposed to be the head of. And the fact that we have had so much suspensions of the Public Accounts Committee, so much other parliamentary committees not functioning in the manner in which they should, is tantamount to how government operations is going. I mean, so much money these different ministries would have gotten, and most of them haven't spent 60% of the budgetary allocation. And right now we're in budget preparation for all the ministries before the budget comes to the parliament, and we have seen the inability of the ministries who have gotten so much money to spend those large amount of monies, and it's concerning.
Correct.
Very concerning.
Very concerning indeed. For those who don't know, remind us what the quorum used to be and what they've changed it to now for constituting the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee.
Well, any three members, including the chairman. Now it's 2 from government, 2 from opposition, and the chairman. If either side has an absent of a member, then there's no meeting can go on. And even when another member could have substituted for the chairman. Now the whole quorum the chairman has to be present, and both sides must have to. If not, there's no meeting of the Public Accounts Committee.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most important committee in the National Assembly. One of the most important. I mean, throughout the region, you can see the important role the Public Accounts Committee plays, because it is the oversight committee for the nation's coffers.
Yeah, and
how these monies are being spent.
Especially,
people must have an understanding of how the taxpayers' dollars are being spent.
And especially in this era of oil and gas, where there's massive spending.
I didn't hear that.
I was saying it is more important in this era where there's massive spending of oil resources, massive corruption as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the other day, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture that I'm shadowing, just before we went into recess, requested $500 million for ground enhancement. $500 million, $500 million. And last week, I noticed the president who's really doing the work of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, announcing Barbados $400 million of that 500 will be going to ground enhancement in Barbados alone.
Oh, wow.
This is a very vast and big country. Region 10 that has the most elite athletes in this country. We haven't seen any upgrade in any ground.
And
we just had the school sports, the ground, the synthetic track is incomplete. And the fact that the sports was still hosted there, at least getting an opportunity to use the synthetic track, one would have assumed or would have been appreciative of the minister showing his presence, because this is the first time the track is being utilized by students, by athletes of this country, and the minister's presence should have been there. And give assurance that this project will be a continuous one with the expansion. We need pavilion. We have had all of the athletes in the sun. Some of them were under some tents, but it's grossly inadequate. So there's a need for pavilions to be housed around the facility to house athletes and spectators.
Correct,
But
right.
like I said, the role of the Public Accounts Committee is severely being undermined. It is being stymied deliberately, and the evidence is there to justify our position.
On the same issue, Mr. Chairman, you are from Region 10, you're from Linden in particular, and you mentioned this 400 million going to grounds and so on. I stood with the regional chairman over the weekend on Mackenzie High School ground, and it's such a shame. It is such a shame. Children have to be training for athletics on the road, the chairman told us. On the road, and they would rather spend that money to hold a dance and a fete on that ground as against enhancing that ground. And what is troubling, Mr. Chairman, is that we have the finances now to do it, but 400 million gone to Region 6. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I agree, and I support the view of the regional chairman that they're training on the road. But besides that, the question is, why are they training on the road? And we're not just talking about Mackenzie High School ground. We have multiple community grounds across not Linden, but Region 10. And there's no outstanding ground with all of the monies that we would have given the ministry that could show evidence that substantial work was done to upgrade community grounds. So even if Mackenzie High School was out, we had an alternative venue where the kids could have gone and trained. And with all of the monies that we would have put towards the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, the evidence of these ground enhancement is not seen. So the question therefore is, where is the money? Where did the money go? I mean, we're seeing the ministry sponsoring a lot of fete, stink and dirty, and a whole lot of parties. But the culture of the country is not being branded to sell Guyana. The sports is not seeing the benefits of investment in the infrastructure to give the young athletes, the promising athletes, the opportunity to nurture and mature their talents, and more so to discover new talents. But all of these monies are being spent, and we're not seeing evidence of this. And there again brings in the importance of the role of the Public Accounts Committee, so that we can question these things. Where is the money going? We're still at 2018, 2019, and we're in 2023 with billions of dollars. We have seen an exponential rise in the budgetary allocation in this country since 2018 to 2019. And that is where we are. So we say, if the ministers can come, replace them with other competent MPs, and let us have the Public Accounts Committee on a frequent basis. We have also advocated that we can have 2 days in the week for Public Accounts Committee meetings, because we are way behind. And we believe the effectiveness of the Public Accounts Committee will only be achieved if we are day-to-day with the actual year that we're in giving scrutiny to the accounts of this country. Because besides scrutinizing the accounts of the country, we as a Public Accounts Committee with our competent advisors give advice on how the system in itself can be effective. But we are at 2018, 2019, so the recommendations that we are given makes no sense because we are in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's like we wonder if our efforts making sense.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those things basically is way behind in the past.
And then when
we're
you
in the
miss
present.
21 meetings, you're deliberately pushing yourself even further back, but with good reason, quote unquote, good reason. Mr. Chairman, thanks for coming on at such very short notice, for being gracious.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, the one and only Member of Parliament, German Figuera, Chairman of the very, very important Public Accounts Committee, with good cause, quote unquote good. Quote unquote good. I said it. Thiefing up all the money. Ramdani now says he's supposed to submit a report on these election fraud cases. He read anything yet? What is this report going to say? Good folks, what is this report going to say? Ramdani says he has a report, right, on these electoral fraud. The report is supposed to be submitted today. What is the report going to say? That's what I want to know. Why are we wasting time? Yeah? What is the report going to say? That's what I want to know. Can anybody tell us? What's it going to say? Please and thank you. Did Ramdani win a case yet? Has anybody in the catalog of cases that they brought to electoral fraud and the special prosecutor, Mr. Ramdani, and this is being reported by the Chronicle, he will deliver a report on the electoral fraud cases progress today. Darshan Ramdani, King's Counsel. You see, now they're coming to kerfuffle you. It's plain simple. Has any of the cases been won? Then the report is not worth the pages like it's going to be printed on. Because you and I know these are bogus, trumped up charges of electoral fraud. You know, you want to say electoral fraud? Watch in the USA. Just last evening we featured yet another person who was pleaded guilty. And the news tightening around Trump for his part and their part in trying to overthrow the will of the people. Anil and the others, Darshan Ramdani and the others, they claim they have so much information and evidence. 3 years in, not one conviction. Not one conviction. Not one. When are we going to move for a no case submission? When are we going to move there? So what is he coming to tell us? A blackout? Load shedding prevented? But trying to bogus, trumped up charges. No wins as yet. It's either you win or you lose. What's he coming to report? The judges don't like him. The magistrate don't countenance him. Give us a break. They said the report coming. This gruesome murder. We woke up to today. Not a day goes by, folks. Not a day goes by. Young gentleman, they tell us, was lured to a house in Le Penitence. Lured there and then killed. He thought he was going to buy gold. I think that's what the report is saying. I'm trying to cross-check my notes. He thought he was going to buy gold. Bludgeoned to death yesterday at a house in Mill Road, Penitence, after he was lured by an acquaintance, watch your friends, to buy gold. Amrit Devendra Singh of Campbell Avenue, Georgetown. Right? Police had to capture one of the suspects, and he has confessed that he and 3 others had slain Singh around 2:45 yesterday. What were you doing around 2:45? Amit Devendra Singh was battling for his life. Lured by the 4 suspects, Middle Road repentance, under the pretext he was buying gold. They said, when Singh arrived, they murdered him, wrapped his body in a sheet, locked the house, and then they fled with Singh's cash that he had taken with him to buy the gold. These are desperate times, folks. And we need desperate measures. Desperate measures. Lord, this young man, Amrit Devendra Singh, lured him to this Middle Road house. on the pretext he was going to buy gold, and murdered him. They said Amrit is the son of a businessman. And our thoughts and our prayers, you see the freedom in which the criminal elements move with impunity, immunity from impunity, or immunity of impunity. You see that? No thought for the police. Middle Road is right around the corner by the back street by the side house. This is not Timbuktu. They lured him, murdered him, wrapped his body in a sheet, left it in the house, and they gone. Amrit is somebody's son, brother, nephew, uncle perhaps. And our thoughts and our prayers go out to this family. Yet another crime in this country. Proliferation of crime. So let's see this crime is down. Tell to Amrit's family. No crime prevention plan yet. Let's tell it to Amrit's family. Bring back the hangman who vex. I said it. Bring back the hangman. Bring him back. Of course, if you live in Guyana, fires are an everyday occurrence. Thoughts and prayers with Amrit's family, friends and his loved ones. If you live in this country, every day is a fire. Every religious day. Right? Crime and punishment. This is Manripo, East Coast, Demara. This house destroyed. 3 persons homeless, according to Fire Chief Gregory Wickham. The names of the occupants of this house in 5th Street, Manripo, was not known. My God. Fires at the PVP, folks. Man walking home on the quarantine. Just like that, you know. His trip home now caused him to be admitted as a patient to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital. God be with you. And he said he was attacked by 2 armed men with cutlasses while walking home along the Friendship Village Road on the quarantine. Suresh Prasad, the laborer, sustained chop wounds to his left ear and other parts of his body. Police are said to now be hunting his attackers, known as Papo and Sonny, both of Friendship Village. Just like that, you know. Suresh, 30 years old, heading home. Ambush in the night in the wild, wild west. In the wild, wild west, folks. In the wild, wild west. Somewhere out there, today there's a headline that said they're building very, very strong roads. Right? They're constructing community roads stronger. Folks, while I was in Region 10, Regional Chairman took me along that road in Watuka by the hospital, Mackenzie rather, by the hospital. Right? The road finished a couple of weeks ago and it's bulging. A couple of weeks ago, the road finished and it's bulging. Has a bulge. The headline in this morning's paper: the roads are being constructed to last longer and stronger. Folks who write those things, who send out those press statements from the ministry, did they go and visit these roads before they approve them as finished and so on? A couple of weeks ago, this road, just outside the hospital there in Mackenzie Hospital, bulging, folks. They call it the Watuka bulge. Mia Miller want to get technical now. She wants a definition of strong. An integrated definition of the word strong. The road bulging. Yes, Ministry of Work says they don't like how the Mabura to Linden to Mabura road is coming. I was on that road over the weekend. You gotta be on that road to get to Rockstone. These folks getting out of the offices and inspecting these projects, or some armchair philosophers, or they watch our program, they see our coverage of these issues and events, and then they chime in. Isn't that how we're doing it? PSs need to get out of the office, get into the field, and see what's happening. See what's happening. I find a lot of strange people with guns in this town. All of a sudden, this security guard somewhere in Region 10, they said he saw the police coming and he tried to push the gun in a septic tank. A lot of guns in the streets. Too many guns in the town. He tried to push the gun. Good folks, in the septic tank, we gotta watch that. This proliferation we see of arms and ammunition, we gotta watch it. We gotta watch it. Unfortunately, we gotta leave it there today, folks, in the interest of time. In the interest of time, we gotta leave it there until our next broadcast, folks. You're heading into town. You need a good justice of the peace, a commissioner of oaths to affidavits. Well recommended also Collins firm, folks. The wonderful folks down there are experts for all the documentation needs. 649-6410, 649-6410, 685-6448, 685-6448. We want to recommend them to you. We recommend them highly because we use them as well. Don't forget, folks, to partner with us also so we can keep on doing what we do here. We're available by Cash App, Zelle, and PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. You name it. We don't say it in a braggadocious way, all for your convenience, folks. So be guided accordingly. We can even accept your debit and your credit cards now as well. We can even accept your debit and credit cards as well. Good, folks. You see that last QR code there? Or if you hit us up on WhatsApp, 627-6963, we can send you that secure link, very secure link. And thanks to all those persons who contributed to our program thus far. Help us to keep going. As a matter of fact, talking about the secure link, we can share it now on the broadcast. We can share it now on the broadcast. Thanks to all of you who support our program to help us to keep going. That's our time, good folks. And that's our program. Stay safe from the multitude of places, Ossie and Chevron, Renella, Edward, and all the other folks, from the multitude of places. Stay safe until our next broadcast.